Welcome back, second grade. Today is May 27th, 2020. Okay, so last week we were skip counting forwards and backwards to 1000. And today we're going to be doing something different and new. Still with 3-digit numbers, but we're going to be skip counting to add and subtract 10 or 100. Okay, so our standard is 2 MBT2. And our objective is students will be able to add or subtract 10 and 100 to a given number by thinking about what place is changing and then using a strategy that works. So let's get started. Okay, second grade. So here is my I do proportion. So we're going to be working on 10 more and 10 less and 100 more and 100 less. Okay, so here my starting number is 565. My starting number will never change because this is the number I'm going to use in order to show 10 more and 10 less, 10 more and 100 more, and 10 less and 100 less, okay? So in order for us to be able to do that, we need to identify our place value. So I'm gonna start on the left side first, on the first left box right next to 565. Now remember, when I say 565, I do not, so remember when I say the number 565, I do not say and because and represents a decimal. And when I look at 565, there is no decimal in that number. So let's get started. Looking at 10 less. Okay, so the keyword and the keywords in the top boxes is both the number and the word, okay? So looking at the word less, I know less means to subtract. So I'm going to just put subtract signs up there because I know that, just a reminder that I am subtracting, I'm not adding. So my number should become lower than 565, okay? Looking at 10 less. So I'm going to put 565 here. And also what I'm going to do is put my starting number in a place value chart. All right? Hundreds, what goes here? If you said tens, correct. And what goes here? If you said ones, awesome. Okay, so I'm looking now at my tens place. They're saying 10 less. So I'm looking at the 10 place value. The 10 place value. And when I look there, that is a 6, and that means 6 tens or 60. Okay, so I'm gonna look here as well. Now, less means subtract, and I'm looking in my tens place. So I am subtracting 1 10. So also I'm gonna circle that place value there because that 6 is what I'm focusing on. I'm not focusing on the 5, which represents hundreds, and I'm also not looking at the other 5, which represents ones. So I'm only taking 1 10 away from the 6, which is 60. So 6, so I can put zeros here. Also, I can put zeros there because I'm not taking anything away from my ones or my hundreds place. So 5 minus 0 is 5. 6 minus 1 is 5. And 5 minus 0 is 5. So the only thing that changed was my tens place value because I took away 1 10. So now my new number is 555. So now let's go over to our hundreds. Now that I'm in my hundreds, it says 100 less. So I'm focusing on two things. I'm focusing on the 100, which is my hundreds place value here, which is the 500. And I'm also going to look at the less part, which means to subtract, not to add. So I'm taking away 100. So I'm going to put 565, which is my starting number. I'm going to circle my number that is being affected, which is my hundreds place. So I'm going to circle that 5. Once I circle that 5, I know that I'm subtracting 100 from that 500. And I can put zeros for the rest of my place values because I'm not subtracting my tens, nor am I subtracting my ones. Okay, so now I can go through. 5 minus 0 is 5. 6 minus 0 is 6. And 5 minus 1 is 4. So the only place value that changed, once again, was my 100 because I took 100 away. 100 less, okay? So now my new number is 465. On this side, I am going to be adding, not subtracting. Remember, I'm looking at my starting number here, 565. That is the only number that is not going to change because that is allowing us to know what's 10 more and what's 100 more. So we're gonna look at 10 more first. So once again, the number 10 means that I should be looking at my tens place value, and the word more means to add. So I'm gonna put plus signs up here once again to help remind me that I'm adding, not subtracting, okay? So now I'm looking at my starting number again, 565. So I'm gonna put that there so that I remember this is the number I'm using to figure out what's 10 more. And 10 represents the tens place value, so I'm going to put a 1 there. Now I am not subtracting. Once again, I am adding. So I'm going to add now 110 because it says 10 more, so I'm adding 110 to the tens place. I'm going to circle that 6 because that's what's the place value that's being affected. Also, I could put zeros in these places because I'm not using anything in those place values. Not in my ones place, nor in my hundreds. So if I go through, 5 plus 0 is 5. 6 plus 1 is 7. And 5 plus 0 is 5. So once again, only one place value change, which is my tens, but my new number became 575. Okay? Now moving on to our last box. So this says 100 more. So once again, I know when looking at my starting number, I'm not going to look at my tens place, nor am I going to look at my ones place. I'm only looking at my hundreds place. But in this case, instead of me subtracting like 100 less on this side, I'm going to add 100 more because more means to add. So I'm going to put my starting number, 565. Then I'm going to add, put a plus sign here because I'm adding more, 100 more. So I'm just going to put a 1 there. But then also I can put zeros after that because I'm not adding anything in my ones or my tens place value. And now look at that, that says 100 because I'm adding 100 more. Okay. 5 plus 0 equals 5. 6 plus 0 equals 6. And 5 plus 1 equals 6. So the only place value that changed was once again my hundreds place, and it moved up only 100. And my new number became 665. So if you take a closer look here, you'll notice that one place value did not change, which was our ones place value. So we have the 5 never changed here, the 5 didn't change here in our ones place, the 5 didn't change here in our ones place, and the 5 did not change here in our ones place. Okay? So whenever you are going through, you need to make sure that you are identifying what place value is moving and what place value is going to stay the same. So now it's your time to go into your slides and tell me what's 10 more and 10 less, and what's 100 more and what's 100 less with your starting numbers. Okay, see you in the slides, second grade.